All right, here we go. November 1914, turn 5. The Austrians, Hungarians, they moved a bunch of their troops in, smashed in right here. They took back Lemberg. They got their city back, but there was an exchange, so they lost some troops in the process of taking that city back right there. So, yeah, and then they moved troops up around. It's like the Russians are starting to get surrounded here, so it's not quite tenable for them at the moment. The Germans, all they did was they moved some new troops into the area. They rebuilt some of their dead infantry units and just parked them in there. They're not attacking at all. All the stuff's going on in the Western Front. That's where they're concentrating. It's like delaying action here, attack over there. So the Russians should try to put some pressure on the Germans because the Germans are getting, well, you're going to find out here in a second what's going on in the Western Front. It's not looking good. The Ottomans are just parking like, oh, this war, I don't know if we want to get involved in this. This is looking pretty nasty. Bulgarians, same thing. The Serbians, they are looking at the Austrians are moving in. Austro-Hungarians have their troops come in. And it looks like there's enough troops with the Austro-Hungarians to take care of the Serbians at the moment because they don't have anything right there. Italians are like, oh, I don't think we want to get involved with this mess. People are dying right and left. All right. Here is the big thing. Well, I think that's what Nancy's underneath this little stack of Germans. The city has fallen. Yes, the city has fallen. The siege guns opened up and cracked the heavens, and they smashed through, crossed the frontier, and took the city from the French. So the French are like, oh man, this sucks. Over here, they're just like parked. It's like, well, it's 1-to-1 odds, but here they had a 3-to-1 odds right there and took the city with the siege guns. Over here, they attacked. There was a 3-to-1 attack right here against these French unit that was there, and they got an exchange. You can notice that there's a whole bunch of empty area right here because there's, well, they drug a bunch of Germans with them, so it's not really good. So that's what's going on the Western Front. The Germans are cracking through after 5 months of continuous attacks by both sides. The French attacked, trying to push the Germans out when they came across the border, and they did succeed, but it's always been inexpensive. Lots of troops dead for them and the Germans, and the Germans have come back and done the same thing. And what it's doing is it's slowly depleting the French down. The Germans are able to replace, 4 corps a turn versus the French can replace maybe 2 or 3. So it's a matter of slowly grinding them down. So that's what's happening there. Attrition is doing its job. And hopefully the British can start throwing more troops into the lines to shore up things, because right now it's not looking so good for the French. They're kind of collapsing. All right, so that's the complete turn 5 for the Central Powers. Things are looking good in some areas. It's looking like it's just a holding pattern over there, and we'll see what happens in the Allies side of it. All right, we'll be back. All right, here we go. It's turn 5 for the Allies. 1914, November on the Eastern Front. The Russians have moved up. It looks like they're eyeing some type of combat around here, but right now they just don't have the strength again. Looks like they're trying to do a build-up over here. They pulled back away from Lemberg and forming sort of a line right here. They got a fort here, and looks like they're trying to make a continuous line over to Warsaw at the moment, because the Russians really took it in the shorts in the earlier in the war with all those exchanges and stuff that it just didn't work out for them very well. But they're rebuilding their army. Over here, the Serbs are digging in. waiting for that opportune time. And at the moment, it's looking like it's no longer in the favor of the Austro-Hungarians to take out the Serbs, because the Russians caused them to pull their forces that were going into Serbia back over to here to stem the tide, because they had lost one of their major cities and the Russians were knocking on the door and they kicked them back. So now the Serbs are building back up. Over here on the Western Front, looks like the British are digging in pretty good. And they have a reserve force right there for stopping any type of breakthroughs. And with the replacements, they have a continuous line right through here. But they just didn't have enough force to stop this attack that took out their city right there, because, well, it was like a 1 to 2 odds if they wanted to attack. No, not very good. So it's not looking good very much in France, unless something really big happens, like some stalled attacks with the Germans, rolling really bad. It's looking not so good. So that is the situation in November 1914. So there you go. Okay. The only thing I can say is that the Russians need to start pushing pressure on the Germans, or else the Germans are going to be really grinding down France. All right. We'll be back.